What would you do if your entire childhood was built on a lie? For 30 years, Anna believed her family was ordinary. But one act of kindness opened a door to secrets no one was ready to face. There are two kinds of daughters in this world: those who know their fathers, and those who only think they do. Anna had always put herself in the first group. Her dad, Pop to her, Walter to everyone else, was an old-school, handshake-and-bacon kind of man. If you forgot your keys, he'd climb in through the window before you could even call. If your car broke down, he'd be under the hood before the smoke cleared. To Anna, he was a rock. And rocks, she thought, never move. It was a Friday, rain pattering against the window, when Anna stopped by to bring Walter his favorite cherry pie. She'd baked it herself, stubbornly following her late grandma's recipe despite years of failure. This time the crust was golden, and Anna was almost proud, until she found her father hunched over at the kitchen table, Bill's scattered eyes wet. Walter never cried. He didn't even sneeze. Seeing him small, fragile, was like spotting a tiger in a birdcage. Anna, awkward with other people's pain, did the only thing she could. She cut him a huge slice, poured 2 mugs of bitter coffee, and sat in silence. "So what's got the world upside down, Pop?" she finally asked, forcing lightness. He didn't answer at first. Just tapped his callous fingers against the formica. Anna noticed for the first time how old his hands looked. She wanted to reach across, squeeze his palm, but her family wasn't built for hugs. "It's nothing," he muttered. "Bill's life, you know how it is." He paused. "Your mother's at it again. Digging up old bones." That's when Anna saw it. A yellowed envelope, edges frayed, lying beneath the pile of bills. Written in her mother's flowery cursive. For Anna. When the time is right. The world shifted just a little. Anna felt the old ache of secrets. The ones adults think they've buried under years of routine. "Pop, what's this?" she asked, voice sharper than intended. He stiffened, but the mask snapped back on. "Probably your mother's to-do list from 1987. Leave it, Annie. Some things are better left alone." But Anna, stubborn since birth, slipped the envelope into her purse when he wasn't looking. The pie went uneaten. By the time she got home, she could barely breathe. That night, Anna's own daughter, Sarah, climbed onto her lap, sticky-fingered and giggling. "Tell me about when you were little," Sarah demanded. Anna smiled, telling stories about swings and scraped knees, but her mind kept wandering to the letter. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. "When the time is right." Anna waited until midnight to open it. The handwriting was shaky but urgent. "Anna, if you're reading this, it means your father finally forgave me. There's something you deserve to know. But promise me, promise, you'll be gentle." The letter stopped there. No explanation, no details. Just a phone number and a name she'd never seen before. George L. Ask him everything. The next morning, Anna's hand shook as she dialed the number. On the 3rd ring, a man picked up. His voice was soft, strangely familiar. "Hello." Anna hesitated. I think you might know my mother. Helen Carter." Silence. Then the words that would unravel 30 years. "Anna? Is that really you?" And just like that, her ordinary world shattered. To be continued. What Anna does next will change everything she thought she knew about love, family, and forgiveness. You won't believe what happens when the truth comes out. How do you ask a stranger if he's your real father? Anna's whole identity teeters on a single conversation, and nothing will prepare her for what she's about to hear. Some nights the silence in Anna's house was louder than a train. That morning after the phone call, even the coffee tasted different, metallic, sour, like she'd stirred in regret instead of cream. Her husband, Mark, shuffled around the kitchen in his robe, whistling tunelessly, blissfully unaware that Anna's world had split down the middle. Anna stared at her phone. The screen glowed with the last call. George L. 5 minutes, 12 seconds. That was all it took to make her question everything. Sarah bounded in, hair tangled, holding a crayon masterpiece. Look, Mommy. I drew our family. See, that's you, Daddy, me, and Grandpa Walter. Anna's throat tightened. Was it a lie to call Walter Grandpa now? Did a single letter erase 30 years of piggyback rides and bedtime stories? Was love a blood test? Or was it pie and patience and being there when the world falls apart? She wanted to scream. Instead, she pressed a kiss to Sarah's head, her lips shaking. In the quiet after breakfast, Anna dialed her mother. No answer. She tried again, then texted, "Mom, call me. Now. Please." An hour later, Helen called back. Her voice was tired, brittle. "Anna? Are you okay?" Anna cut straight to the bone. "Who is George L.?" A sigh long and heavy. Anna pictured her mother, fingers worrying a napkin, eyes darting to the window. Helen had always been a master of not answering questions, but today she sounded too old to lie. "Anna, sometimes life doesn't go the way you plan. I was young, stupid, angry with Walter. George was a friend. For a little while he was more. It was a mistake. But after I found out I was pregnant, Walter, he forgave me. He said he wanted to raise you as his own. He loved you like you were his. That never changed." Anna pressed her hand to her chest, feeling her heart thud. "So George, he's my real father?" The word real tasted wrong, like betrayal. But Helen only whispered, "By blood. But Walter is your father. He chose you. He stayed." Anna's mind spun. Images from childhood, now flickering with doubt. Walter teaching her to ride a bike, cheering at spelling bees, crying at her wedding. Did he know all along? Was every hug a kind of secret? "I have to meet him," Anna said, her voice flat. "I need answers." Helen sighed again, defeated. "If you must. But be gentle with George. He's had a hard life." Mark came into the room holding his mug, looking concerned. "You okay? You look pale." Anna almost told him everything right there. Instead, she lied out of habit. "Just tired. Long night." But Mark wouldn't let it go. "Is it your dad?" Anna felt the urge to laugh. "Which one?" But instead she just nodded. "Sort of." After Mark left, Anna found herself cleaning obsessively. Scrubbing the stove, organizing junk drawers, rearranging the fridge. Anything to avoid her thoughts. But the phone number glared at her from the counter. Finally, she called George again. This time he answered immediately. "Anna." She swallowed. "I need to see you. Today if you can." He sounded relieved and terrified at once. "Yes. I'd like that." They agreed to meet at a park by the river, neutral ground, as if this were a hostage exchange instead of the first meeting between father and daughter. The air was heavy with the promise of rain as Anna waited on a cracked bench, hands balled in her coat pockets. Every parent with a child seemed to stare. She wondered if strangers could see the fracture lines in her life. And then George was there. Older than Walter, thinner, hair grayer but eyes soft and watery. He moved with a limp, leaning heavily on a cane. For a second, Anna wondered if she should hug him, shake his hand, run away screaming. He smiled, nervous. "You look so much like your mother." Anna tried to smile back, failed. "I have questions." George nodded. "I've waited 30 years to answer them." They sat. For a long moment, neither spoke. Anna studied his hands, the knuckles swollen with arthritis. She saw her own hands there, her daughter's. Finally, she found her voice. "Did you know about me?" He nodded. "I did. But Helen, she wanted to do what was best. Walter was a good man. He loved you. He stopped, voice cracking. "I wasn't ready to be a father. I was a mess. Still am, maybe." Anna felt pity, anger, and something like relief all at once. "Why didn't you ever try?" He looked away, blinking fast. "Your mother made me promise. She said you'd have a better life if I stayed away. I sent birthday cards, never signed. I watched from a distance. Sometimes I saw you at school. You always looked happy. I told myself that was enough. Anna's chest ached. But it wasn't enough for me. George flinched but nodded. I'm sorry. I can never make up for what I missed. But if you want, I'd like to know you now. Rain began to fall, slow and cold. Anna shivered, not sure if it was the weather or the weight of 30 years of secrets. I need time. But maybe we could start with coffee. George smiled, hopeful, and Anna saw herself reflected in those uncertain eyes. As she left the park, her phone buzzed. A text from Walter. Love you, Annie. No matter what. Anna stopped, letting the words sink in. The story she thought she knew was over. A new one was just beginning. What happens next will test the limits of loyalty and forgiveness. And Anna will have to decide what family really means. Don't miss what comes after this. What happens when loyalty is put to the ultimate test? As Anna brings her secret into the open, one wrong word could break the family forever. And someone is about to walk out for good. There's an art to pretending, Anna thought. Some people wear masks their whole lives and nobody notices the cracks. But when Anna opened the door to Walter's house that Sunday, maskless and raw, she could practically hear the plates in the kitchen tremble. Walter was in his chair by the window, half hidden behind the Sunday paper. He looked up, his eyes searching Anna's face for answers. Come in, Annie. You're letting the cold in. She stepped inside, heart thundering. The house smelled like coffee and wood polish, so familiar it hurt. Walter lowered the paper, revealing lines Anna swore weren't there last week. He looked older, smaller. Anna sat across from him, hands in her lap like a nervous child. Pop, we need to talk. Walter nodded, setting the paper aside. I know. For a long moment neither spoke. The clock ticked, the refrigerator hummed. A neighbor's dog barked in the distance. Anna wanted to run, but she'd come this far. There was no going back. She took a shaky breath. I met him. George. Yesterday. Walter didn't flinch, didn't look away. He just sighed as if relieved. I figured you would. A flash of anger. How could you let me live my whole life without knowing? He studied her. You think it was easy? Every day I wondered if I was doing the right thing. But I loved you, Annie. You were my daughter from the first second I saw you. Blood never changed that. I didn't want you to feel different. Or less. Anna blinked away tears, half rage, half heartbreak. But I am different, Pop. I feel like a stranger in my own skin. Walter leaned forward, voice rough. Anna, listen to me. Being a father isn't about biology. It's about who stays. Who picks you up when you fall, who remembers how you take your tea, who sits up at 3 a.m. when you have nightmares. I was there, wasn't I? She nodded, silent. He was right, and yet something in her still ached. The ache of being left out of her own story. I just needed to know, she whispered. I needed to see him. To see if I could find myself in his face. Walter's mouth twisted in pain. Did you? Anna hesitated, then shook her head. A little. Maybe. I don't know. He reached across the table, covering her hands with his. His skin was warm, familiar. I'm sorry, Anna. I really am. Her anger softened, replaced by something messy, a grief. Why didn't you ever tell me? Why didn't Mom? Walter stared out the window, voice barely audible. We tried. Once. You were 10. Your mom wrote you a letter, but then you broke your arm and we decided to wait. Then your grandmother died and we waited some more. And suddenly years had passed, and the truth got heavier. Anna laughed bitterly. You made it sound like a family tradition. Walter smiled, a flicker of humor in his eyes. Our only tradition is loving you too much, Annie. The front door opened. Helen stepped in, coat dusted with snow. She saw them together and froze, guilt plain on her face. Anna stood. I know everything, Mom. About George. About the letters. About the lie. Helen's face crumpled. I was so afraid. I thought I was protecting you. Anna's voice broke. From what? From knowing who I am. Helen stepped closer. From pain. From the mess we made. For a moment Anna wanted to scream, to rage, to break things. Instead, she wrapped her arms around herself, shivering. Mark called from the car. Sarah's laughter floating through the open door. Mommy, come on. Walter squeezed Anna's hand. Go on, Annie. Your family needs you. Anna looked at him, really looked, and for the first time saw not the perfect father but a man. Flawed, scared, and still trying. She bent down, hugged him tight. I love you, Pop. No matter what. He hugged her back, fierce and shaking. I love you too, baby. Always. Anna walked to the door, Helen reaching out for her hand. Anna hesitated, then let her mother's fingers entwine with hers. Outside, the world was white and bright, Sarah's giggle cutting through the cold. Anna realized, with a jolt, that she could breathe again. But as she strapped Sarah into the car seat, her phone buzzed. A message from George. I want to be in your life. If you'll let me. Anna stared at the screen, heart pounding. What did family mean now that she had a choice? The next step would force Anna to choose between the comfort of old loyalties and the hope of something new. What she does next could change all their lives forever. You can't look away now. The moment Anna makes her decision is coming, and no one will be left untouched. The days after the revelation moved in slow motion. Anna floated through routines, a ghost in her own home. Folding laundry, prepping school lunches, nodding absently at Mark's jokes. Each task felt absurdly normal in a world turned upside down. But at night, in the blue glow of the hallway, she lay awake, replaying every moment of her childhood through this new, cracked lens. Family group texts still pinged, full of bad memes and grocery reminders. But now Anna read between every line, scanning for clues. Who knew, who lied, who was just as lost as she was? She started to resent their laughter, even their innocence. How dare they move on as if nothing had changed? The message from George sat unanswered in her inbox, a tiny bomb ticking quietly. Anna reread it a dozen times. I want to be in your life. If you'll let me. 7 words, each one heavier than the last. She didn't reply. Not yet. Not until she knew who she was without anyone else's stories. One afternoon, Anna picked Sarah up early from school and drove to the old playground where she herself had learned to swing. The park was mostly empty, just one other mom pushing a toddler. Sarah dashed to the jungle gym, leaving Anna on the splintered bench with her own thoughts. It hit her, then, how much of her identity was built from scraps of other people's decisions. Helen's shame, Walter's loyalty, George's absence. Had Anna ever really chosen anything for herself? The wind picked up, swirling dry leaves at her feet. Anna pulled her coat tighter, feeling suddenly profoundly alone. But then Sarah called, Mommy, look at me. Arms outstretched, hair wild, balanced on the monkey bars like she owned the sky. In that small voice was everything Anna had been missing. Agency, audacity, hope. Maybe it was time to stop waiting for other people to define her story. That night she wrote 3 letters. To George. I want to meet again. But on my terms, at my pace. I need time. I want you to know your granddaughter, but you'll have to earn her trust and mine. To Helen. Forgive you. But you have to stop running from the truth. I need you in my life, but I need honesty more. To Walter. I love you. Nothing changes that. You will always be my dad. Nothing and no one can rewrite what you mean to me. She left them on the kitchen table, trembling with something close to relief. The next morning she invited everyone, Helen, Walter, George, to a Sunday lunch. Mark thought she was insane, but Anna was done hiding. Walter arrived first, with a bouquet of wilted daisies and a nervous smile. Helen came next, her lips tight, hands worrying her purse. George stood awkwardly on the porch, shoulders hunched as if expecting lightning to strike. Anna made lasagna, the kitchen thick with steam and awkward tension. No one spoke at first. Sarah darted between adults, blissfully unaware of the war simmering beneath the surface. Finally, Anna broke the silence. Let's stop pretending. We're here, all of us. No more secrets. George cleared his throat. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I was just scared. Walter nodded. I was scared too. I just tried to love her enough to make up for it. Helen looked at Anna, eyes full of tears. I should have told you. I was a coward. Anna looked at each of them in turn. Her family, flawed and fragile but still standing. No more running. From now on, if we want to move forward, it has to be together. For Sarah's sake. For all our sakes. It wasn't a perfect lunch. There were tears and stumbles, biting sarcasm. Even some laughter that sounded almost real. But by dessert, something had shifted. The truth was finally out, raw and uncomfortable but strangely freeing. Later, as she washed dishes, Anna caught her reflection in the kitchen window. For the first time in weeks, she recognized herself. Not as someone's daughter, not as a sum of other people's choices, but as her own person. Still wounded, still uncertain, but moving forward. The phone buzzed. A new message from George. Thank you. For a second chance. Anna smiled, the weight on her chest just a little lighter. But family secrets cast long shadows, and forgiveness is rarely a straight path. Anna's choice would soon spark consequences no one could predict. Ones that would test the fragile peace they'd only just begun to build. Stay tuned. The final confrontation is coming, and Anna will have to risk everything to truly find herself. When the past refuses to stay buried, who will Anna become? The daughter shaped by secrets or the woman who forges her own truth? The final reckoning will leave no one unchanged. Sunday lunch became a new ritual, less out of tradition than necessity. Each week, Anna set her table for 3 parents. A mosaic of mismatched lives. Every meal proof that imperfection could still hold. Sarah grew used to extra hugs and double grandpas, while Mark played diplomat, always ready with a joke or a firm hand on Anna's back when things got tense. But underneath the surface, fault lines remained. Walter flinched whenever George spoke of Anna's childhood. Helen apologized too much and too late. George, for all his tentative kindness, was a reminder of everything stolen by silence. Anna thought she was getting used to it, until a letter arrived that would shake everything loose again. It came on a Thursday, in a plain envelope with no return address. Anna nearly tossed it as junk but recognized the careful script. Helen Carter. Inside was a single sheet, folded so many times the paper threatened to tear. Anna, there's one more thing I never told you. Something I was too ashamed to face. George didn't just leave by my request. He was in trouble, real trouble. I paid him to disappear, to stay out of your life. I did it out of fear, not love. Walter knew, but he forgave me because he loved us both. I'm sorry you had to learn this from a letter. I hope you can forgive me, truly. Mom. Anna's hands shook as she read, her heart pounding with anger and strangely relief. The final puzzle piece. Not a perfect fit, but at least the picture was complete. She called Helen immediately. The phone rang once, twice. On the third ring, her mother answered, breathless and weary. You should have told me yourself, Anna said, her voice steady. I know, Helen whispered. I didn't want you to hate me. Anna sat in silence, letting the weight of the moment settle. I don't hate you, but I need you to understand. You can't love someone by erasing part of them. Not me. Not yourself. Helen's sob was small and sharp. You're right, honey. I know. Walter and George soon found out, the story breaking like a storm over the fragile peace they'd made. George was silent, his face gray with old wounds. Walter just sat with Anna, the two of them drinking coffee in the fading afternoon light. Forgiveness, Walter finally said, is a muscle, Annie. You gotta keep using it or it just shrivels up and dies. Anna laughed, the sound thick with tears. I think I've pulled every muscle in my heart, Pop. He smiled, squeezing her hand. Means it's working. The next family meal was raw and uncomfortable. Helen apologized again, and George for the first time let himself cry. Sarah watched the adults wide-eyed, absorbing every fracture and every mended edge. When dessert came, Anna stood. I don't have all the answers, but I know this. I'm done hiding. From now on, this family is what we make it, not what's been kept from us. Walter raised his glass. To messy truth. And to second chances. They all drank, even Helen, even George. And Anna realized, maybe forgiveness was less about letting go of the past than refusing to let it poison tomorrow. That night, as she tucked Sarah in, her daughter whispered, "Mommy, are you happy now?" Anna thought of every broken thing, every healing word, every second chance. She kissed Sarah's forehead, tears prickling behind her eyes. "I'm working on it, sweetheart. Every day." And for the first time, Anna believed herself. Some wounds never fully close, but sometimes the truth you fear most is the key to your own freedom. Anna's family will never be the same, but maybe that's the point. What happens next? That's a story only she can write.